Hello, and thank you for listening to The Theory of Creativity. This is Sarah introducing our podcast about obesity and welcoming Garrison along with it.
Hey.
So I think today we're going to be spending some time talking about obesity. Last week we talked about mental and physical health. These kind of subjects are pretty important to us, primarily because Garrison and I are both vegan. We both care a lot about ourselves and our bodies, and how we feel on a general purpose. What do you feel about, what do you feel about obesity? As a quick tune in.
Well, before I give my opinion about obesity, you really had to do that cliche telling everyone you're a vegan
I'm a
thing,
vegan.
right? Yeah.
I am a vegan. I'm
Yep.
proud. Wait, hold on. Can I change the subject real quick?
Okay.
All right. So I was looking for vegan shirts. Because I'm totally a vegan. Like I'm totally a vegan, and I wanted to like flaunt the fact that I was a vegan. And I was looking online and I saw these really funny shirts that just like cracked me up. And one of them said, vegans need protein too, right? And then had like a giant sperm cell like right underneath it. And like, while that might not be appropriate for all occasions, I think, in some instances it might be okay. So I think I might end up getting one someday, hopefully. Hey, birthday gift. Just saying.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So obesity, right?
Yeah, obesity.
My opinions. It's uh it's an epidemic that has plagued primarily the United States.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate, and the most unfortunate thing is that people think it's okay, and there's fat acceptance, which I think we'll get into a little bit later. But yeah, it's sad times.
Yeah, as far as like fat shaming goes, I don't know, I'm kind of like on a touch and go kind of basis with it. I think people should feel comfortable no matter who they are, no matter what they're doing, as long as you are comfortable with yourself and your situation, then that is, how it should be. But if you feel like you want to change that, then you have all the right in the world to be able to do that. So that's kind of my opinion on it.
Right. Yeah. I think that it's harder for some people because, if you know how like genes and DNA works, is that it basically changes every like 5 to 7 years. So you're basically a new person, but really, your DNA is constantly changing, and your body kind of grows accustomed to certain tendencies and activities. So if someone overweight has a child, then it'll become just that much more harder for their offspring to sort of overcome that.
Right. So then, here, okay, so opinion versus opinion, right? So what do you think about men who are overweight? Do you like? It seems like you're talking about a lot about like women, but how do you
Really?
feel? Yeah, like I mean, it seems like women definitely have it harder. Maybe that's why you're
Well,
saying that.
I think, um, well, it's a bit easier for men to lose it. However, if you know how men and women carry their fat,
Yeah.
men carry it mostly in their chest, which is harder on their heart,
Right.
and women carry it mostly in their hips. So,
Yeah, I think. Sorry, go ahead with what you were
right,
saying.
yeah, it's I don't think we've looked up any statistics, but I think that it's probably more deadly in men.
Right. I think there's like a huge statistics. It's like 1 in 5 men will have a heart attack or cardiac arrest at some point in their lives due to having, extra fat on their body or something along those lines. So, I mean, that's just something to think about. Those are just statistics. That doesn't mean you're going to have a heart attack if you've got a little bit of extra fat on your chest, but it's always good to be wary that your organs will take a toll if you don't treat your body with respect. As far as some statistics on obesity, I mean, we're going to touch here on some anorexic statistics too, as well as health, I guess, health disabilities about anorexia. That's a really bad way of phrasing that. You have a disability if you're anorexic. No, you don't. You have a disorder. So I guess Mississippi is the fattest state in America. So thank you, Mississippi, for taking...
You make America proud.
Yeah. yeah, you do. It's probably all that gator meat, to be honest with you. Like, have you ever seen Swamp? God, what is that show called? It's like Swamp Masters or something like that. They're basically like super hick, like just hillbilly guys that go out and they go in the swamp and they go and hunt gators and they take the gator back and then they fry it up and then they eat it with their entire family. So it's probably all that gator meat, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, but that's down south, right? So they probably like deep fry and do a lot of that stuff too. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so deep fried gator is probably less healthy than like grilled gator.
Right. Like, who eats grilled gator anyway? Like, it sounds gross. It's like the healthy version of fried chicken, honestly, I've had gator before. It's pretty good. I mean,
I think. Where did you have it?
It was some really lame chain restaurant that had gator.
Was it in Cincinnati?
Yes.
Okay, I think I had it.
It's that place that like tells you you're an asshole to your face while you're eating. Like they come up to you and like they make fun of you while you're eating.
Huh.
It's
Really?
like called assholes or something
really?
like that. Yeah.
Oh, no, different place. Then.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was good. Tastes like chicken. Also, if you're interested in learning about some obesity, maybe different perspectives, I know a lot of people that have heard of Super Size Me, but probably may not have ever seen it. We had to watch this movie in high school because it was so important for what was going on in our world at that time. It's still important. I mean, they make documentaries about food and health pretty much constantly now because it's super important for him. Well, this guy, I can't remember the name of the actor or the name of the guy that does the documentary, but he goes through like an entire month of just eating McDonald's, and he ends up like raising his blood pressure extremely high. Like, he had a doctor measure before and after the whole month, and his blood pressure was extremely high. His cholesterol levels, his bad cholesterol levels, I think it's HDL and LCL. I think that's the two different types of cholesterol. The bad cholesterol was super high. Like, he was on the verge of having diabetes. He'd gained a bunch of weight. Like, that just kind of tells you... I don't think he exercised the entire time he was doing this.
Yeah, they didn't allow him to.
Right, yeah.
And wasn't he impotent at a...
like, he couldn't get it up because, like... Yeah. Anyway, so, he ends up pretty much hurting his health by going to fast food restaurants. And I know in recent years, like, a lot of these chain restaurants have had changes in how they service their food to make them healthier, or at least appear healthier, so that they'll bring in more customers because the appeal is they want to be healthier, right?
Right.
But even still, I don't think fast food's the answer.
No, but a lot of people don't really have time to fix their own food unless you have like a maid that cooks it for you, but not everyone can afford a maid.
Just have a child.
A child?
Don't you cook all your parents' food?
Yeah, but like for like a 7-year-old,
Oh,
they
yeah.
can't cook.
That's true.
Yeah, America is like the most worked, like, is that the right word? The most
Overworked.
overworked, yes, country in the world, and they're the most sedentary, so they can't really, there's no really real time to be active and to eat healthy because there's just not a lot of time left.
Right. I think it's about like cooking for yourself versus like having somebody cook for you.
Right. There was this, speaking of cooking for yourself, well, we were gonna have a podcast about school lunches. We can probably still have it, but not anytime soon. But I was watching a video, and the kids were planting their own food, their own crops. And one of the instructors mentioned that people tend to eat what they make. So yeah, so
because they're proud of it.
right, yeah, which
Oh, we should make our own tofu.
how do you do that?
Soybeans? Is that how you do it?
And that's it, and you just like hold it like.
You just crush it.
Yeah.
Actually, I have no idea. We have to figure that out.
Okay. Yeah. So soy tofu. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Tofu.
Yeah, we should try and make our own tofu.
But there has to be more to it than that, because what they injected with like estrogen or something.
No, that's naturally found in soybeans.
Cool. Let's do that then.
Cool.
What were we talking about?
No, you were talking about like how these kids were growing their own food.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
School
So
lunches.
yeah, growing your own food. Yeah. So I cook pretty often, and my deal is it's so good, and I don't want to stop. So that's probably the one drawback, is that it'll be so good, and you won't want to stop eating it.
That's Garrison's ego right there for you. Like he knows he's good at cooking. Not really though. He is actually really great at cooking. I'll be honest with you. You'll probably get to see some of Garrison's recipes. We're gonna start doing a weekly vegan recipe.
Just a little spurt of the moment kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Like today I'm gonna make some cake. I'm gonna make a vegan cake.
Have you made one before?
I have not, which is going to be exciting, but I love to bake, so it's important to me.
Can't wait.
Me too. Can't wait.
So what's next?
I'd also like to bring up another movie that's pretty interesting. Okay, so thinking about like the perspective of being an overweight person. Have you ever been fat, Garrison?
No.
So you've never like...
I've never been over like 140.
Wow. Yeah, it's like weird for me sometimes to like think about things, because like some people have just been skinny their entire lives, and like I never know how to associate, because I've never been like skinny. Like even now, like I'm only 150 and I still feel fat. I always feel fat. Like once you feel fat, like you always feel fat.
Doing the whole, weighing yourself on a scale isn't really accurate, because muscle weighs more than fat. So,
that's true.
if you like, how do you it's kind of hard to know how much of that is fat or muscle if you don't have like one of those calipers, right? To like check your fat.
Do the
ratio.
BMI test. Yeah, we were thinking about trying to do a BMI test on each other right before this podcast, because we were like, it's like 18.5 to 24.5 percent of BMI, that's body mass index, is the normal weight that you want to be at in anything.
For some reason, BMI sounds like IBS for some reason.
You've got a lot of IBS, like more than you probably should. It's measurable. It's on the scale. It's funny because I know somebody with IBS, and he's got some chronic IBS. It's bad.
Names, please.
No, he'd be mad. He'd be so mad if I said his name on one of these podcasts. But hopefully we can get him in here one day and we can have him talk about his IBS. He'd probably be down. So I don't know, from like perspective, like it's hard to imagine, I think, what it's like for somebody that is in an overweight situation. I don't know, it's like an overweight situation. You're in a situation if you're overweight. No, that's not what it is. It's somebody who's overweight. It's hard to, I think, imagine for a lot of people what it feels like to be overweight. Because they just, I don't know, a lot of people, I guess, have been really skinny their whole lives, and they don't know any better. But for me, like when I was a kid, I think I mentioned this in the last podcast, that I lost like 90 pounds in a year in late high school. So for me, it's like I went from a period of being like super self-conscious to not being not really caring at all, and like kind of being noticed, and it was like it went to my head pretty fast, pretty easily, and I kind of took it for granted, the fact that I'd lost all that weight, because I didn't realize that if I just kept going with it, like maybe we could I talk about we like I'm two people, maybe I could have continued and been a little bit healthier than I am right now. Like I feel pretty healthy, but I always feel like I could be healthier. I mean, I had a back injury like 3 years ago, and it was due to being sedentary. Like I didn't do a whole lot. I was in acting classes, and I was going from being sedentary to being super active, and I hurt my back really bad. And so it kind of set me back a little bit for the past few years, and now I'm back in the gym 3 days a week, working my ass off to get back where I really want to be.
So where was your back injury?
I used to work at Jack's Pets, you know.
No, like the location on your back.
Oh, okay. Oh. Well, so it was like my lower back, but I don't think it was an actual spinal injury, because I don't have any nerve damage. I went to the chiropractor to get it checked out, and like they showed me like an x-ray of my spine, and it was like that. Mm-hmm. So I think it was more muscular, because I can feel a muscle, like when I work out my butt, I can feel like, I can feel like where the tinge is. So like I have to be super careful, especially when I'm doing squats or running, how much I work out my butt.
Yeah, during my my later years of high school, I was fairly sedentary, and during the time that I was taking my SAT, I was like having like a back problem, and I've had it a few times earlier, but this time was especially bad, and in fact I didn't even get to finish my SAT.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's how bad it was.
Yeah, it was so bad. I was like vomiting in the bathroom, and I had to go to the doctor.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So.
What did the
But
doctor
it wasn't really
say?
on the. I don't remember. But it wasn't really on the spine. I guess it was about where the appendix is, I think, in that area.
Oh.
And if you know anything about those, they're pretty serious. Like, if that busts, then you're kind of screwed.
So did you have appendicitis? Is that what it was?
No, because, like, the 2 times that I slept on your couch, it happened. So it's like something where however I my back is curved,
Yeah.
then it'll hit me, and then I'll have to like stretch and stand up and
Huh.
stuff like that. So
That's
I don't.
interesting to
Yeah.
think about.
Yeah.
Huh. So yeah. Also, obesity can lead to back problems. There's that. Oh, so we're at 20 minutes.
Okay.
All right, guys. We're gonna come back here and talk a little bit more about obesity and anorexia.
Welcome back to the Theory of Obesity with Garrison and Sarah.
Hi.
All right, so continuing on with obesity, there's childhood obesity, um, which which is also plagued the country because the kids aren't really given a choice. They're kind of given what their parents give them. So it's that's so yeah. So they don't really have much option.
No, these kids unless they're given the right start, could end up being obese their entire lives. Having heart attacks. I mean, what was the name of the little girl? What was her fucking name? She was like a dancer, right? And her mom did like dance competitions. What was her name? It's like BB or
Honey Boo Boo.
Honey Boo Boo. Yeah, man. She have like 4 heart attacks or something?
I don't think so.
Like she was just way too fat to be like a little kid. Like you can't do that.
But her mom lost some weight.
I did see
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Good for her. Proud of her.
And then she gained it right back.
Yeah, did she?
I don't know. I hope not.
Yeah, that would suck. Yeah, I don't know. Like childhood obesity, I think that is a pretty bad thing, and it's mostly in our country. Like I don't think there's a whole lot of countries where childhood obesity is pretty rampant, unless it's for genetic reasons, of course.
Hey, America, stop working so hard so we can, make better life choices uh, and not be overweight.
Oh
Thanks.
yeah, definitely America. Like the movie Wall-E.
Yes.
Yeah, like how they're all like super fat in the future. That's like America.
Yeah, it's basically yes.
Yep. We're just gonna travel through space as fat as we can possibly be.
Right. So, sort of leading into, or segueing through childhood obesity, we're gonna talk about how typically smarter people have less kids, which means
But people are stupid.
which means well, that's because they have access to more resources and more options and more chances to make smart choices. But typically, people who don't have it so well have more kids. Isn't there like certain doesn't the government give them like money for
How many kids they have?
right?
Yeah. Social
Checks, benefits.
yeah, benefits, social benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like lots of government funds that go out to people with like really low income, especially for women who have a lot of children and who are unmarried and are basically living off of the government.
Yeah.
Food stamps.
Right.
Stuff
There have been a few times where, like, say, a mother or like a foster family will will adopt a child and abuse them
Mm-hmm.
pretty much adopting the child just for financial gain. Uh, I think we're going off on a tangent. I have no idea where this is
No,
going.
no, yeah, no. I mean, you're definitely right. Like, there's lots of people out there that will abuse the system, and maybe our system, there's something wrong with our system to the point where this is also leading to childhood obesity. Because, for one, the food stamps, what's in the clauses of the food stamps, like when you go and sign up for them, you only have certain places where you can go and spend those. And only certain things that you can buy in those places. Now, I don't know all the regulations or anything. I'm not like, I tried signing up for food stamps once, but I'm also poor as fuck. So, there's like clauses that say that you can only buy certain items, and a lot of people, what they'll choose to do is buy junk food instead of
Because it's like more for the money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or, quote unquote more.
So a lot of these kids only get fed fruit roll-ups, hot dogs, cookies, candy, junk food, pop. They get fed terrible things for their bodies, and people aren't really paying attention to that. Especially on food stamps. It's expensive to buy kale.
Really? It's to buy kale?
Kale.
Well,
I mean, I assume.
okay. Yeah, there are like certain like cheats and stuff to like get more bang for your buck. Is that
Right, bang for your buck.
I think a lot of people don't really use coupons as much as they should. And
is there coupons for fresh produce?
should be.
There should be.
Yeah.
There should be more coupons for fresh produce.
Yeah.
Thank you, Walmart. Okay, so talking about availability of fresh food. I was following one of my friends on Facebook, and she was talking about how neighborhoods in low income areas should be allowed to have gardens, public gardens, to substitute the access for fresh produce. Because it is expensive, they should be allowed to garden. But a lot of these places don't have public gardens for them. Like, thinking about, like, downtown Dayton, like how, what's the name of that garden that got shut down? The station, something station.
Penn Station?
No.
Okay.
Penn Station's
Delicious.
It is delicious.
I don't know. I've never been.
They got good fries. There was a public garden that got shut down recently around 5th Street in Oregon District, that kind of put an impact on a lot of what people were doing downtown. Like, this garden was public. They were able to use it for their own, vegetables, flowers, what have you, and it was beautiful. People could go there and garden. Now, if they were allowed to have this type of garden in lower income areas, it might help, one, raise awareness for health, raise awareness for gardening, and, kind of put back to the earth, I guess. So, I mean, that's just an idea, but I think it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I was watching a documentary, and it's especially hard to grow your own food in big cities. There are often convenience stores on every corner, especially in lower income neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So, if people are willing to invest into gardens and to bring in the food to these areas, it could work. But then again, that leads back to taking a lot of like time, which a lot of Americans don't have.
Right, yeah, like one of my biggest concerns is if like we put a garden in like a lower income area, would people actually take care of it? My hope is that at least one person would.
Yeah, yeah. Like some r- retired
Mm-hmm.
family might step up and do something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hell, there could be like benefits. Say, like there was a public program, like a nationally public federal program that would allow funding for lower income areas to have these gardens and give them money for, like the idea is the incentive
Hmm.
of the money so that they can garden.
So are you saying that they should hire people to work in the garden, maybe?
It's not hire them. It's so like the city puts money into these neighborhoods. Because this is kind of like how politics works. So like say the government will give certain cities or give states funding, a certain amount of funding to put into their cities so that they can do this. And then the city builds the garden, and then as an incentive to keep the garden, they need to have somebody to run it. So it's all volunteer work. I mean, besides the funding.
So so would the people have to pay, or will they just be able to come up and just take whatever they want?
I don't know. I don't have it worked out that far.
Because there are like kiosks around my neighborhood, like especially during the summer, there will be people that would they'll sell ears of corn and
Oh
like
yeah.
fresh peaches and things like that. So they're getting them from somewhere. Uh, so they're growing them somewhere and then taking them to be sold elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a really good incentive, Especially if you've got more crops than you really need.
Hmm.
You might as well give back
Yeah.
or sell back. So let's talk a little bit about anorexia. So we were looking at some statistics online. There's a pretty good website called emilyprogramfoundation.org. And we were looking at these statistics, and it says, interesting enough, that 1 in 5 women in America have some sort of eating disorder, whether it be anorexia or binge eating disorder. And that's pretty high as far as the count goes. This is adult women. This isn't teenagers or children. But I guess, I mean, I was reading even further, and it says 42% of first through third grade girls have are worried about their weight. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I don't even remember when I was in first or third grade even caring about what I looked like. I didn't give a shit about what I looked like when I was older.
I think you can attribute that to the infancy of the internet because, with the internet, there's lots of communication and a lot of back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So after the internet, everything kind of exploded, and the world, in a way, became a smaller place.
Yeah.
And and a lot of new ideas were put into people's heads about different things. So maybe that has
Something to do with it.
right.
Yeah, I've been noticing too, like girls that are younger. Like, I mean, I work with younger girls, and they all seem to be very skinny because they're all very probably self-conscious about what they look like. I can't even imagine being that young and caring that much about what I look like. I mean, I care now because I want to be healthy, but I don't care about what other people think of me.
I think that's you just brought that up. I'm glad you did. Is how you it's not ideal to try to lose weight or look a certain way for other people because, feelings are fleeting, and someone might love you now, but they may, feel some way else later. So you should do it for yourself to make you feel better, because sort of lending back to last week's podcast about physical and mental health. Once you mental and physical health really work in tandem, and if one's good, then the other should balance out, and vice versa. So
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that, because it is a balance. It's not going to be one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be skinny. It's going to be hard work. Or one day you're going to wake up and you're not going to be anorexic anymore. Like, it's not going to be an easy task, and it never is. Okay, so maybe we should have a podcast about addiction one time, but a lot of this, like I was thinking about this today, a lot of what our country deals with is certain types of addiction, because we're substituting our mental illnesses for vices. So, like, people that will go shoot up heroin are ultimately suffering from a mental disorder.
right, yeah, that's addiction is interesting because unless you know someone that's a specialist and can help you out, you'll latch onto something else, and then that's just another problem you have to worry about. So it's yeah, so dealing with addiction is not an easy
No,
easy feat.
I mean, people can be addicted to anything too. Yeah. It's like an overconsumption or over activity of any one thing. I mean, you can be addicted to exercise. Like, it's been known that people have been addicted to adrenaline. People are addicted to gambling. Like, there's literally so much you can be addicted to. The idea is to find balance. I'm addicted to nicotine, so there's that. Going back to anorexia, I guess a lot of what women are dealing with in particular, it's 1 in 5 middle-aged women are dealing with anorexia more so than younger people. So, like, my age, I'm like 24, don't necessarily deal with it, but it's the physical perception of needing to be skinny is affecting the way our society views itself.
Right. Now you just mentioned that age group now.
Yep.
Because their estrogen, right, is going down.
Their boobs are sagging.
Right, yeah.
Their tummy's getting bigger.
Right. Which is
cellulite.
Yeah, the same goes for men and testosterone. Once that goes down, a lot of things start to go down, and
he said go down. Yeah, and no pun intended, right?
Right. No, yes, pun intended. Yeah, so women with estrogen drops, they're, I guess, still affected by what the media is casting out.
Like what these I mean, it seems like social media and magazines and big companies have tried to change how they view their women. Like, I gotta think about Victoria's Secret. All their models are skinny. All of them. And they all look damn good, right? I mean, sure, there's Photoshop. I am not going to deny that. A lot of it is Photoshop.
Yeah.
But it does seem like some bigger companies are trying to change the way women view themselves by adding plus-size models. Now, their perception of a plus-size model and my perception of a plus-size model are two very different things. Because I think if, you know, you should have an entire spectrum of beautiful, skinny, and big women all in one magazine.
Right, because they do have like a plus size thing, but that's a different thing, right?
Yeah, it's like a different part of the magazine.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see a big woman
With the cellulite and everything.
with everything. Like,
Stretch marks.
spider veins, you know.
Ew, no, not that.
What?
I'm just kidding. That's
Wait,
that's fine.
okay, so wait, should we, like, should social media cater to the women that have extremely, like, gross, skin problems?
Should they cater to them?
Yeah, we're gonna go out on this note.
Oh, really? We're almost done?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
20. We're
man.
at 20.
Can we do a part 3?
Part 3. Part 3.
Well, no, I don't. Yeah, that's. So what were we saying?
Oh, should social media and big companies cater to women with or women or men with extreme skin diseases, like, you know,
Like how?
leprosy?
Oh, that's extreme.
Just a thought.
Well, no, from a business point, because I don't think the supply meets the demand.
There's not a lot of lepers out
there's
there.
not a lot of people with extreme cases, but I guess you can make a small campaign and like target it to certain people, because you know how basically the internet knows your search history and things like that, so they could
Right.
tailor it to those people that are looking for skin things.
Right.
Yeah, so yes, but no at the same time.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Garrison.
No problem.
All right, guys. Thanks for chiming in. Bye-bye.